Alrighty. So, he got kind of grumpy at us before when we called him out on not being able to follow his own rules. You guys think we should do you expect us to live without sin if you can't do it yourself? Or the golden rule is corrupting the city and it's ensuring you'll never win the wager? I feel like appealing to his wanting to win the bet is the way to go.
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
Decius is price gouging for life-saving medicine because he knows nobody can take it by force. Rufius has become so paranoid that he's jumping at shadows, like Virgil's sexuality. Aurelia is exploiting people's desperation to escape by selling them hemlock. Malleus has trapped people in debt bondage by convincing them that rebelling would break the law. And I can't think of any examples. The medicine? I don't know that he's going to accept any of these, honestly, but...
True. I have witnessed him doing that. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. I admit, I have grown disturbed watching her. His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day. If you're right, my involvement has corrupted the very thing I sought to observe impartially. But if I were to accept that, are you telling me these humans could coexist peacefully, without theft or violence, without my law?
Yes or no, but humans need to be able to use force in exceptional circumstances to correct their societies. Yeah. Nothing is an absolute in this point, so like using an absolute I think is going to go poorly for us.
How so?
We use violence to discourage bad behavior, to neutralize criminals, and to overthrow tyrants.
And how is that working for you?
Where I'm from, 2,000 years in the future, it's working pretty well. On average, life expectancies are climbing and crime rates are declining.
So you say, and yet your world is still imperfect.
It's getting better all the time. One day we'll get there. Our world will always be imperfect, but the kind of force required to create a utopia will inevitably result in tyranny. Which is the argument that we got from the guy in the caves, basically. Force will always create tyranny.
You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
Perhaps he made a mistake too. Perhaps he wanted you to abandon the wagers so Proserpina would be free from you. Perhaps he felt threatened by you and didn't want a potential challenger in Elysium. Perhaps he left you behind because even your own kin didn't want you. I feel like the potential challenger is the best option here. Because Zeus is a dick? Yes. Yes. Because saying that Jupiter made a mistake is basically calling him out too. Yeah. I'm gonna go with 3, I think.
Perhaps. But if that was so, surely I would have sensed his deception. How could I have been so blind for so long?
You're no better than us. You're a monster on a power trip. No, that's inflammatory. Perhaps when you took on human form, you took on human foibles as well. Perhaps you were blinded by your love for Proserpina. That's very human. The second one, not the third one? I like the third one. I like the third one again. Both of these are good. I don't know if bringing her up is going to be helpful or not. We'll try it.
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
Three was the one that worked. Also, we just got the achievement Silver Tongue. So, apparently we did pretty well here. Why can't we go to Elysium, or we just want to return to the world? I think we're just going to go with, we just want to return to the world.
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Why?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Farewell, mortal.
Bruh, not my fault. Yes, he is ending the golden rule, and he is ending the place, basically. Ooh.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fray. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
We found him in a different place. Alworth, I came in here to find you.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm Cherney. I was hoping you'd know who I am.
Know who you are? I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, preventing the suicide of a man in debt bondage, freeing a falsely accused prisoner, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus. because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
These Romans are crazy. Sounds a bit far-fetched. Actually, that was me. Sounds a bit far-fetched.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
I'm right behind you. And there he is, closing up the passageway again.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Good idea.
You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
My only question is at this point is if I still have the bow.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
I found him. He'll be here in a moment.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
I discovered you're not who you said you were. I remembered meeting you 2,000 years ago. Or I discovered the ruins of an ancient underground city. We can lie to Charon. I remember meeting you 2,000 years ago.
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Who are you, really?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
What truth is that?
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
How did I die?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
I suppose not.
A wise decision. All you need to know is that you and Al died in possession of a sacred silver coin.
Pluto said the coins Al and I had were the last in existence. What does that mean for you?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
Can you return us to the land of the living?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself. Look! Here comes Al now! Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story, and I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
All right, Charon. Ferry us home. One year later. So we chose the archaeologist path.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Galerius, what are you doing here?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
What are you doing with yourselves these days?
Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Are you with Aquitia now?
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there.
I'd love that. Count me in. Good to see you again, Galerius.
Of course. There's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you.
Good to see you too, Aquitia.
So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside, with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us.
How's Livia?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself.
I'll do that. It's good to see you again.
See you at the wedding, I hope.
Oh, hello.
Aw, look at him. Look at him all cute in his hoodie and shorts.
You're the Oracle, right?
Journey is fine.
Oh, of course, sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me, and all of us, out of a terrible situation.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about.
Seeing the world through fresh eyes sounds wonderful.
I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
Whatever happened to Malleus and Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I think you're allowed to feel that way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Whatever happened to Aurelia?
Ugh, someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
She got scammed. The scammer got scammed. Don't worry. Something tells me she's going to get what she deserves.
Well, you are the Oracle, so I suppose I'll take your word for it. Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
It's good to see you again, Yulia.
You too. If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
I'll take you up on that.
I hope so.
Let's see. I kind of want to see...
Hey.
Oh, Cynthia is here. Nice. Looks like a Horatio. Julius. Oh, the hermit. The hermit is there. Oh, geez. Of course.
Good evening.
I want to talk to everybody, but... Is this one Virgil, maybe? I'm looking for Virgil.
Hello.
There we go. And Rufius!
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Good to see you, Virgil.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in a beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets, full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
Okay, who had Rufus being secretly in love with Virgil on their bingo card? It was good to see you again, Virgil.
You too. If you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I may take you up on that.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you too, Rufius.
I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff.
His nameplate just changed. If you choose to go to the Netherlands, put in disc 2. Yes. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
Turns out you were right. The statues really were watching us.
Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
Don't worry, you'll get used to it. It's good to see you again, Rufus.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
Look at these two! I'm so excited for them. Alright, let's go to the end of the hall here. I am curious what it's like to play through this not as an archaeologist.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
I recognize that voice.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
You were whispering to me all along.
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
You did what you could. Thank you. You created the time loop.
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath.
What became of Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
What became of Charon?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day.
Grump, thank you very much for that lurk. And yes, Proserpina has been giving us kind of creepy vibes the whole time, but we were able to rescue her from captivity, and she helped out in allowing us to actually finish the game, basically.
And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
It's the crowd we can hear, isn't it?
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus,
There's a
Theseus,
goose.
and Aeneas make you proud.
There's a goose. Ending 4 of 4. So we've gotten ending 2 and ending 4. Not too shabby. And a nice break, I would say. So there we go. What did you think, everybody? I'm gonna cry, don't mind me. What did you think? Pretty cool, I would say, huh? I am so glad that I took the time to play this game. There's still 2 endings that are part of the game that we have not experienced. Ending 1 and ending 3. So, you've got some replayability there. This has been a lot of fun to play through, though. Came in just in time for the credits. Hello, Goosetown. How we doing out there? Yes, so we have finished the game. We've gotten 2 endings. Pretty excellent. What did I miss? The canon ending. Missed all the things. But it was a great time. Lots of fun. So we did actually get to finish ending 4, which is the canon ending, where you get to see all of the things that happen. But that's the achievement. You get the achievement for ending 4, and it says the canon ending. So, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, I would say. One moment here. I'm so sorry. There's so much going on right now. Holy Toledo. My goodness. So, ending 2 is the canon ending. I mean, kind of. It's an option. But there we go. I kind of like that they have headshots for all of the voice actors. It's kind of fun to actually get to see the faces behind each of the characters. I like it. It's very good. And, as I mentioned previously, this is published by Dear Villagers. And I was like, oh, how appropriate. Perfect. So, there we go. I didn't see it, but I assume you were shot out of a cannon. We were not. We were not. But a good one. So, brings a whole new meaning to burning down the village. I know, right? But, my friends, it is time to head out into the wild world of Twitch and see what else we can do today. Are you all ready to see what else is going on in the wide world of Twitch? I'm excited. I am excited. So, announcements. I'm going to let this run in the background here, but announcements. We have, later on today, in about half an hour, our lovely friend Muse is going to be doing a Get Ready With Me stream. Who will be... Ranger Sheeb. So, Get Ready With Me stream from our lovely fellow villager Muse will be happening over in the Discord later on this evening. We will be getting another stream from Tipsy Tiger because it is yet again date night. You can look, Big Grove Walker. Thanks for ruining the game for me. Yeah, right? Jeez. Jeez! But, it is time to head out and do our raid today. So, we've got lots of friends who are out here doing some cool stuff. Let me pull up my page here. Or Big Grove Walker, were you wanting to mark our quarry for today? Because that should be available right now. But pretty excellent, pretty wonderful. So we have some art, some Genshin Impact, and what else we got? Some Dungeons and Dragons, which looks like a live play. And some Rune Factory 4. So there we go. You guys have 2 minutes on that poll. Let me know where you guys want to go. So there we go. Very cool. Nice little sign up there.